What's up, everybody? Welcome to Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Chad Hastings. I'm pretty excited to do today's show because there's just so much to get into. I feel like we haven't had a chance to react to the fact that the college football playoff field is set and settled. So that could be a day's show, no problem. We could definitely do just an entire show on that, and I think be riveted. But you got Texas playing Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. You've got guys jumping into the portal today, C.J. Baxter, Trey Owens. I'm waiting to see if there will be more. I'm expecting that more guys will. And then you do have Texas playing Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. And I am really fascinated, Chad, by the concept of should the game be played? I've heard now I feel like I've heard a bunch of different arguments for it, and for and against.
Yeah.
And I feel like I kind of understand everybody's making good points. I thought Anwar Richardson made some crazy points earlier today in the sense that.
And I damn near agree with every one of them. And I thought most of them were crazy, but I knew what he was talking about.
I did too.
Yeah.
It's why I asked him, is it the last game of 2025 or the first game of 2026? Because how you approach that very question may determine how you play this game. Are these games like, is this the preseason game of 2026 that you didn't get a year ago? There's a lot of different ways to think about it. I also totally appreciate what Notre Dame is doing. If you think about what happened to Notre Dame, forget for just a moment, they're taking their ball, they're going home, they're acting like pouty children. They've won 10 straight. The last couple of weeks, they've done nothing wrong. And they've just seen their position dwindle and dwindle and dwindle to the point where they're now left out. If the football coach was asked, what do you think how do you think they'll treat this game? And if he says, man, I don't know that any of them will want to be there. They're all pretty, it'll be hard to overcome. We didn't get in. I don't know. And if the AD hears that and says, okay, well, then we're just not going to play the game. We don't need the money that bad.
Right.
And if you're telling me that like we can make a case that it would be best for us to just move on, then we'll move on. I actually appreciate a little bit of honesty there where it's like, we're not going to ask our players to fake it. Cool.
Yeah.
But if you are going to play it, how do you treat it? And is it the best thing that you can do? If you're Steve Sarkeesian, you playing this game?
Yes, I am. Real quick, back to Notre Dame. Right out, it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. Every good story needs a villain. Nothing's more entitled in college football than Notre Dame, and they played it perfectly. The only thing I don't allow, Catch, is their shock. That's the one thing I don't allow. Tell me you're bigger than the game. Tell me it doesn't matter. Tell me your team won't care. Don't tell me you were shocked. Please don't tell me you were shocked. Do not for a moment tell me, we told you they set you up for this last week, and so did they. Over and over and over again, you were set up for this. The notion that they were surprised is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Now, to your question for Texas, what I like about it from a fan standpoint is two big brand names. You're not playing a nobody.
Well, real quick, just on the Notre Dame thing.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, it looked like they would be in the 8-9 game.
Right.
So
far from safe.
Far from safe, but also feel pretty safe. Like they essentially were right next to Oklahoma.
Safe as
in the
long
pecking order. In fact,
as long as Miami was creeping, they had to know the danger. And they really had to know.
Miami creeping happened late. Like that was.
Yeah, but it happened. They knew it. It was right in their face, Catch.
I'm just saying.
They got switched to 10. They knew what was being presented to them.
But they still didn't lose. They didn't mess up other than they lost way early in the season before the 15th of September. I'm just saying that
flawed
in their
system
situation.
Overall, right. I will allow them to argue flawed system overall. Why don't we have JMU's spot? That makes total sense to me. But what they're arguing,
I haven't says that there's a lot of shock. I think there's a lot of being pissed about it.
No,
which isn't the same thing as feigning shockness.
It was shocked. It was now the word farce I'll allow. I'll allow them to think it was a farce and all that stuff. But this system is set up to create special things for one team, them. And next year they get a special rule written in.
I think you got a little bit of an anti-Notre Dame thing going on right here, whereas I am pure as snow. And I'm ambivalent towards Notre Dame. They've never really done it for me. But I don't have a single hatred of Notre Dame. And I don't care. I've never cared.
And I'll give you my opinion, which does matter slightly. I root for the team that would have faced Notre Dame and is now facing Miami. I'm glad it played out like that from a football standpoint. You take that for what it's worth, but I like the matchup for my team better with the Hurricanes than I would have with the Irish.
No doubt. And there's a part of me, one of the reasons this is selfish of me, I kind of want to see, I want to see what Marcus Freeman's really good.
Yeah.
His record against ranked teams really good. I think
it is.
He's doing a really good job at Notre Dame, and I think we sometimes sleep on how good of a job he's doing because they haven't really had that quarterback that makes us love teams, really. And I guess Georgia's somewhat the exception to that, right? They've done it with a motley crew of guys at that position. Alabama did for a while too, but then eventually, those Alabama teams were quarterbacked by some pretty players. At the peak of their dominance, they weren't slumming it at quarterback, and I think that's the thing that they're missing is a player to put as the front guy of the program. Because if they had that, I think Notre Dame looks so sexy right now. They just haven't quite had that. Even Riley Leonard didn't completely move the needle for me a ton. But I really thought, okay, Notre Dame's won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
Marcus Freeman's really good.
Yeah. There was a really
big boy. Let's see what you can do. The bracket's there. Because the thing is, I think A&M's in a pretty good spot. You hate that. If you're A&M, you hate, well, I guess it's all subjective. You're stuck on that 2-3 side, which the place to be would somehow be to get over onto the 1-4 side of the bracket. Because that one feels, with all due respect to Indiana, I feel like a lot of teams can come out of that side of the bracket.
Well, here's the weird part for me. If A&M advances, they'll go to Jerry World to play Ohio State. Were you a little surprised that if they were going to give Georgia a little love with the Sugar Bowl, why didn't they give Texas Tech the path that went through Jerry World? Regionally, why wouldn't you give love to one of your top fours, that one of your teams that gets a bye?
Where's Tech scheduled to go?
The Orange Bowl.
Because they're Tech.
Okay, I guess.
At the end of the day, they're Tech. And Ohio State being higher probably gets first choice.
Maybe, right. And maybe that's it. Maybe that was simply it. They just get they may have just gotten the first pick.
I mean, it may be they're just last in the pecking order of the, and that's fair.
Yeah. But in terms of,
by the way, I will, let me just say this. Kind of cool that Indiana, that it works out so that Indiana gets to go to the Rose Bowl. Like, that feels romantic. And if nothing else, those kids are undefeated. They're the Big Ten champions, and they get to play in the Rose Bowl. And so
that part's perfect. Yeah,
it almost feels like those kids, their football souls could die, and like they could rest easy. It's like in that scene in Return of the King when spoiler alert, when the ghosts have like served their penance and they're released from their sentence. It's like it feels like if you're Indiana. I have a buddy of mine who, when I was doing the national radio stuff, Chad, for Yahoo Sports Radio, my producer was this guy, Chris Taylor, who played running back for the Texans and then was doing some producing for Yahoo Sports Radio as he was getting into that line of work. And he played football at Indiana. And like I would hear him talk about, he was getting excited for like, hey man, Indiana Purdue this weekend. 3-8 versus 2-9. Let's get it. Like for the guys to have lived it like that, to be in a place where the fairy tale came true. Cool for Indiana. It's hard not to pull for them the entire way. The rest, like a neutral, how do you not continue to pull for Indiana? There's a part of me that was weirdly rooting for Ohio State because I usually just like to see the big brand. And yet I found it was hard not to watch Indiana and go, this is a cool story.
Yeah, I'll let you process those Ohio State feelings. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pay a bill here, and then I have a question, and then I'll lay out for you my argument for Texas playing this game and, all that kind of stuff. And then you tell me if it even matters, because I'll give you the old guy argument. But the first thing I'm going to do is tell you about an old guy that loves chicken fried steak, and that's me. Hayes City Store. Get out to Driftwood the next chance you get. I'll throw up a QR code for you. That's the ice house in the middle. No matter what the temperature, they're going to make it right for you. They've also got indoor seating. They got those beautiful shade trees if it's nice enough to sit outside. The queso is right there on the left. They got great queso. The salsa is awesome. If you get the home run dip, you also get the guac and you get the bean dip that I've talked about. Yes, I would send you out there for bean dip. That's how good they are at Hayes City Store. FM 150 in Driftwood. Tell Travis, Tamara, and the crew we said hello. They are Longhorns through and through, and they get every detail right. Hayes City Store. Tell them you heard about it on Orange Bloods Live. All right, Catch. So here it is. This is my old man argument. I love the helmets. I got them facing each other behind me. Michigan, Texas. They've only played twice. Ever, as hard as that is to believe. Steve Breston tried to beat the Longhorns by himself, didn't work. Quinn Ewers went to Ann Arbor, whooped them by 19. Those are the only two times these uniforms have ever met. So historically, it's cool, but also both these teams are at 9 wins. The win gets you to 10. Texas hadn't had 3 straight 10-win seasons since the end of that MAC era, 07 to 09. Momentum for next year, extra practices. We all know the argument. But for you in 2025, is there a strong enough argument on the other side to say, hey, these kids are risking it. It's a different era. I don't care if it's Michigan. I don't care what it is. Maybe we should think about doing what Notre Dame just did. Forget about why, but just state it as, no, we're done. We're good. If we're not in the playoff, we're moving on. I would say play. Would you make the argument on the other side?
I think what's really important in this discussion that I remain incredibly consistent with my entire ideology for how you handle the scheduling thing, right? Work smarter, not harder. I'm looking at this game, and the only thing I want answered, yes or no, are we better in 2026? Because we played in this game or not? If the answer is the pros add up more to a greater value than the cons do, and therefore we think it is a net positive, then I play the game. If I go through all of the potential negatives and they add up to something that I think is more than the value, then I'm not playing the game. I don't know that there's a crystal. I had not given it a lot of thought until really today. I didn't even write about it a ton, right? My default was that you kind of play because I can think of all of the positives. And it might be that is the right move. I don't really care about the arbitrariness of I don't care about 10 wins.
Okay.
I don't know how many games Texas won last year. I know they went to the semifinals. That is the sport that we're now in. I think when Sark said yesterday, and young Fred, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, because if you agree with that, chat, you play the game.
And that's why I think the answer is you play the game. I'm just saying we need to slow down and ask all the right questions. And then that's where, because I hadn't really thought a whole lot about it. Here's what it comes down to for me. We know that Sark's going to try to superhuman this thing in the offseason. There have been no changes behind the scenes with chain of command. Like they're now in the belly of the beast. Players are transferring. Retention plans are being made. The portal stuff's underway. Sark is going to need Sark needed to be on his A game last year at this time of the year, and he wasn't, and Texas paid for it all year long in 2025. All year long. Every single decision that was made at this exact time in the window a year ago that Texas got wrong, the entire season is defined by it. And they chased their tail for the rest of the year to the extent that they hoped in the spring portal that more would go in than it did. It left them a little lighter in some areas than they hoped. Is Sark, the GM, much better without having to deal with the distraction of 2 weeks of getting ready for a Michigan game that he'll want to be fully prepared for? I don't know that I'm ever going to get Steve Sarkeesian a more uninterrupted potential platform of time to prepare for the next season that he's ever going to have right now. If they don't play that game, Steve Sarkeesian for the next 3 weeks just disappears. And all he does is focus on making 2026 better.
Yeah, because Catch, real quick, what happens 2 days after this game is played, right? The portal opens.
That's what I'm saying. 2
days. And I've made the argument they need to take advantage of this because they only have one game to prep for. But you just made a phenomenal point. It is they would come back with, well, yeah, Chad, it's one game, but it's a bowl game. It's a chance at 10 wins. We're playing Michigan. It's not like we're not prepping for it. We're going to prepare. So is the best way to fully maximize this time period and build for 2026, just politely saying no?
I think it's in the best interest of Steve Sarkeesian, the general manager. No offense to Brandon Harris.
Right.
But Steve Sarkeesian runs his football program. I think the guy that runs the football program would be better off not having to deal with the distraction of a game for the next 3 weeks. That being said, I do think it would be good for Arch.
Absolutely.
I do think
totally agree
that there are a lot. I think it would be good for a guy like Jonah Williams. That guy's probably not even going to be involved in spring football because he's playing baseball. There's a lot of guys. There also, we don't know for sure that there's even going to be a spring game.
Yeah, that's true. He has not been a fan of that lately.
So there's not enough games and sample sizes to turn one away, really. It does benefit the team to have 2 more weeks of practice, that you do get essentially a second spring. Here, you're not asking DJ Campbell to break his neck in the next 2 weeks of practice. You're just not.
No.
He's practicing for an hour, and then a lot of the young guys are getting reps, and I think that has a ton of value. It would give you a chance to really, if you're auditing your program for the portal, and you're like, how much can we trust Nate Kibble? Well, let's find out. Throw his ass in against Michigan. Are you going to do it with Arch playing quarterback? Maybe not. There's a lot of questions to ask. How do you get the most out of this game if you're going to play it to help in 2026?
Yeah, because one of the things you also want to do, I mentioned 2 days away from the portal, can you figure out a way to make it almost a signal to the rest of the country, to any team that's about to have dudes interested in the portal? Did you see what we did, right? Did you see this or did you see that? Did you see Arch and whatever it is? Put something on the field that's going to make a player because there'll be players that will be thinking about, would I want to go to Texas or Michigan? They're both big names. They're both big deals. They're both sitting here 9-3. If you win it and you get to 10, can you send them a message that, hey, in 2 days, we're going to be interested in you?
I know we've got a couple of super chats, including one for $20. Tim, I see you. We'll get to you in just a sec. I just want to say this, and then we can do that, and we'll pay some bills, and we can do buy or sell. I have 5 questions today. I got in early. I'm a grown-up, responsible boy.
Look at you.
I know. It didn't bother me enough that I climbed up to my ivory tower and virtue signaled in my 10 thoughts from the weekend my anger towards Steve Sarkeesian. So it wasn't that. Like whatever I'm saying next isn't so big that in the last 21 hours I've shared it with anyone else in the world, and we're 20 minutes into the show and I hadn't brought it up until now. It's not a huge deal, right? However, when Sark brought up, he said two things yesterday that made me want, honestly, it's a metaphor. It's just a metaphor.
Here we go.
But I wanted to punch something.
Okay.
First, I hate the 10-win stat. Oh, if you want to talk about something so trivial, when you don't have it, oh, it sounds so good, right? You know, it's like the Holiday Inn. You know who the Holiday Inn may not sound great to somebody who stays at 5-star hotels, but like someone that doesn't, someone that slums it, someone that's like, I might sleep in my car because I don't have enough. Like, those Holiday Inn sounds great. Sounds great.
Love it. Especially when you put the word express behind it. Awesome. Breakfast.
But when you're in the middle of it, don't tell me that the chance to win 10 wins is significant. It's not. And then there's the second thing that he said, because it was the most Mac Brown thing that Steve Sarkeesian has ever said.
Okay.
It pissed Texas fans off when he said it, to be like, who the hell decided that 10 games was important? It was like Mac and Bianco did. No one ever hired Mac Brown and said, hey, what Mac's going to allow us to do is string together a decade of 10 wins. No one said that. But when you're not winning things, you say things like, we've won 10 wins. And no, stop. So that bothered me. But then he did say that this was a great season. Why say that, man? And I know it's a throwaway comment and nobody anywhere has mentioned it anywhere. But why say it? It's so empty. 2 weeks ago, you said this was a playoff program. Y'all didn't make the playoffs. Y'all didn't have a great season. We had to – Sark is, I think, in order for this program to take the Kirby Smart step, I think in order for this program to take the Nick Saban step, Sark's got to get out of his feelings a little bit about what disappointment looks like and how it gets painted. Because everybody needs to know that Sark's pissed about this. Everybody that has a hand in it, they need to know he's pissed. And Texas fans need to know he's as upset by them not making the playoffs as anybody watching this show right now is. You can't be more mad than him. You can't be more frustrated than him. But that's not the public image that he gives. He came out yesterday. It was one of the first things he said. Hey, man, we've had a great season. No, you haven't. Because if this is a great season, we've just watered down what the word great means. Now, it's not a terrible season. You beat your rivals, all of them. Arkansas could get some too, OU, A&M. But Sark, said this is a playoff program. If you're a playoff program and you don't make the playoffs, you don't get to call it a great season. And I think he needs to be more transparently disappointed and angry by what's happened than I think he's willing to be. Because you know what Nick Saban would do if his team didn't make the playoffs? He'd have the video of that Florida game playing every day in the offseason. You couldn't lift weights without every loss that Texas has this season playing in the background. Like, he wants that to hurt. He wants it to sting. He wants them to know that not getting to the mountaintop isn't good enough. And like, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's a nitpick, but just show up and say, hey, we're excited to play in the bowl game, but don't tell me that you had a great season, because you didn't. In no shape, form, or fashion is any Texas fan going, you know what? Sark's right. This shit has been pretty great this year. That is not a thing that
No.
anyone is saying.
I don't know. That is not happening. All right, let's get to Tim's 1999. Thank you, Tim. Time to be stingy with our brand. Playing in the bowl game only helps the NCAA, ESPN, and the Big Ten. No need to help them when they don't care about us having BYU ranked higher. Raid the portal, says Tim. It's one way to look at it.
What is it more valuable to play than not play? I don't think it's crystal clear. Yeah. But man, I'm leaning towards not playing in the game because of the Texas setup. Because let me answer the question to you like this, Chad. And this is everybody that's watching this show, answer this question privately. Mm-hmm. This is the answer to the question. And I think it's kind of haunting. So here it is, okay? Is it more important, just in general, no real parameters, just in a way that as general as I can ask this question as possible, is it more important that Texas beats Michigan in the Citrus Bowl, or is it more important that Texas sticks the landing this offseason and that they get as many portal and acquisitions and money spending and everything that happens? Is it more important that they get that part right, or is it more important that they win the game?
I mean, I think that's an easy answer. It's all the other stuff.
And if it is, what are you asking Steve Sarkeesian to do for the next 3 weeks?
Right.
Everything, or just the thing that matters the most?
The other optic there to me, Cats, this is a silly optic to bring up, but it is true. It occurred to me over the last few days. There's 3 options when they're trying to decide. Option 1 is don't play the game, and then what we're talking about. Maybe you get an advantage setting up the portal. Option 2 is you play and you win. And then the image everybody's going to see is Steve Sarkeesian literally will get Cheez-Its poured on him. That's a thing. That's what they do at that game. That's option 2. Option 3 is you play in the game, you lose the game, and the other coach gets Cheez-Its poured on him. Like, that's where this season with Arch Manning is ending if you choose to play. Is it enough? Because I agree with you. It could be good for Arch, but there's an imagery around this.
I think it would be great for every freshman in the program.
Yeah.
Especially, I want to see KJ Lacey for a quarter. You know what I mean? Because that guy's.
Yeah, I know.
That guy's got to be the backup next year. It's a chance. But the thing is, now we're treating this thing like a glorified scrimmage, which was Anwar's point, right? Like, let's play the game.
Right.
But let's play it where Khalik Lockett and Jamie French are getting some reps. Let's just see what it looks like. And in that world, you're not exposing Arch Manning to any, you know what I mean? Like, if you're really taking an NFL preseason, and I, you know what? You can talk me into that. That's the best way that it's more valuable to do that. And that's more valuable than the other thing. I just keep coming back to, man, if you're talking to a really good Texas football fan who is passionate and they care, and you tell them, what do you want for Christmas? And it has to happen in the next month or so.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Texas football fan, we gotta nail the portal. We got to get offensive linemen. We've got to get running backs. I think it's really interesting that the season, the finalness of what the season was 24 hours ago. And all it took was CJ Baxter entering the portal. And it was okay, let's start talking about next year. And that's not what bowl games used to be.
But I think there's also somebody threw in the chat, it can be both and probably needs to be both. In a perfect world, Catch, you're always going to be trying to rebuild. You're going to be trying to do what they failed at last year. Rebuild the portal while you're in a playoff run. So
I just don't want Sark. I don't want Sark, the program builder, distracted by Sark, the offensive coordinator. And like, I don't know how Sark's supposed to be the best version of himself as an offensive coordinator. Let's start there.
Right.
How's he not distracted? How's he supposed to be the best version of himself as an offensive coordinator, where in the 2 weeks leading up to the game, all of the decisions that will decide how good they are in 2026 have to be made?
Right. But in every world that he wants to live in, he's got to be able to figure out both. So why not practice it now?
He has an infrastructure set up around him that is not built to multitask these two things at the same time.
Right. But now we're having a different discussion than should you play Michigan.
Well, this is why. And look, I still don't know what the right answer is. What I'm telling you is, I think the most important thing to do is to prioritize this period of time going into January and like being as ready as humanly possible. And if I told you that you get an A+ at the end of this, or a B+, but you win the game, give me the A+. Give me the A+. I don't care if you lose. That is so important.
Okay.
That like you'll trade a lot of. You do this as like a sports fan all the time. When your team is in a big game, you'll start saying things like, "Oh man, God, just let us win this one game." It's how Jerry Jones like made the deal with the devil, and the Cowboys will never win another Super Bowl again as long as any of us are alive.
But this gets back to what Anwar was kind of saying today. Is Fred right here that what if they did it exactly like this? Treated like preseason, starters first half, backup second half. If they treated it like that and even lost the game, but nailed the portal, that's fine, right?
Nope.
That's not fine.
I think – now, look, this is semantics to some degree. I brought this up on the show with Anwar earlier. Mm-hmm. Chris Del Conte does not want to have a discussion right now about why bowl games are they're just not ready to have it. It's true. These bowl games are meaningless. Mm-hmm. So meaningless that we're talking about the existential value of this thing we can't even quantify, right? Which is Steve Sarkeesian, the value of a completely open highway to be able to focus on 2026 versus playing in the game. Like, it is impossible to weigh these things. They're concepts, right? But us just having this conversation speaks to the value of the bowls. But Chris Del Conte and none of these ADs are truly ready to come out and say the bowl games have no value. Because the moment you do that, the moment you start telling your fan base, we're going to play the starters for a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody traveling to Orlando to watch this.
I'm not saying you would say, they didn't say you say that, just do that.
But I think even to do that is an official, like that is.
Then you'd be admitting it.
You're admitting it. And like at some point.
I agree.
You then have to be asked about it, at which point you have to. And once you say that, you can't ever look, let me tell you what this weekend was. This weekend was the Santa Claus talk with my daughter. It came out of nowhere, but it's been had.
Okay.
Can't put that genie back in the bottle.
Both kids or just one now?
Just one.
Just one.
Okay. I still don't quite know.
Still don't know where. Okay.
I don't know how that's going to go. I haven't. In fact,
you're living in a weird world that not all parents get to live in, where it's not just one kid. You have twins, so you have the exact same age. One of each that you're having to deal with those kind of things.
I have not told Heather that this happened, by the way.
Wow.
So you now know more than my wife does.
Okay.
As does everybody watching the show, but not potentially ever. Because the thing is, I think the person in question wants her to think that she still thinks. So now she's reversed it, if it makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
She wants mom to believe.
Okay.
That she believes.
That's what we call. That's Christmas spirit. That's what we call.
That's yes. So I don't know.
Good kid. It's a good kid you're raising there.
But ultimately, with these bowl games moving forward, and it's the thing that nobody just wants to come out and say.
Yeah.
They've been meaningless for a long time.
Sure.
But a little bit like not paying the players turned into this romanticized, this is how it's been forever kind of mentality where it's like, why should you pay the players? Because they didn't get paid in the 70s. Well, okay, stay with me here. It's 50 years later. Why shouldn't they get paid? Right? And it's a little bit like that, where it's like, well, these games meant a lot when I was a teenager, when I was growing up. Okay, well, when you were growing up, a lot of things mattered. You had like phones in your home instead of, you know what I mean? Like there were all kinds of life was different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what we do with college football more than any other sport is we romanticize.
Oh yeah.
And so why does this bowl game matter? Because we've been brought up to believe that they matter. I can remember being a kid, Chad, and Baylor played LSU, I think in like the 1987 or 88 Blue Bonnet Bowl. Baylor won 21-7. And like, I still remember the score today.
Right. And we were trained because it was all smoke and mirrors, and it was all romanticizing back then. And back then, if they gave you a trophy for winning the game, the fans would tell you, hell, that's enough. Trophy. Hey, Kirby Smart said it for the SEC title game this past weekend. It's a ring game, Catch. It's a ring game, right? Okay, they're going to give the team a trophy. They're going to give everybody a ring, and you'll get to say you were bowl champions for the rest of your lives. That used to be enough. I don't know if it's enough anymore. I don't.
This is the end. Look, with Notre Dame, we do not get mad at college basketball teams that miss out on the NIT or the CBA or whatever they call that other thing.
CBI, NIT, right. We'll let them do it. We'll let teams say no to that all the time.
If Kentucky misses the tournament and they're like, forgive us, but we're shutting it down.
Now, forgive me for saying, if there's one sport right now in our lives, Catch, that has gotten less and less romantic by the second, it is college basketball. So let's just start there.
I think it's actually a little more romantic than maybe it was a half decade ago, because the parity that we're seeing college football undergo slightly, you're seeing in college basketball as well. So if I told you that Nevada won the national championship in college basketball, you might go, really?
Yeah.
Or you might go,
right. I'd say I'm not
kind of surprising, but like nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah, I'd say it shouldn't surprise me, and it is a disgrace to that sport that it happened. That would be disgraceful.
Wow.
Disgraceful.
Why are you hitting on Nevada?
Not on Nevada, just that idea. The fact that some of these teams make the Final Four, the fact that it's
what do you feel that? Because look, Indiana is a byproduct of the new system in college football. And one of the things that you can control in college football that flies in the face of what Steve Sarkeesian has been building, and you and I have had a little bit of conversation about this. Mm-hmm. It's the only place I brought it up, I think, is on this show. But when he said, other than I brought it up with Anwar today, but when he said a couple of weeks ago that, hey, man, we're a really young team, and then he was kind of just talking about the evolution of program building. And that was the day that he was like, I don't want to have 30-something guys from the portal, which is ironic because he now has 31 and growing scholarships available at his disposal if he wants to use in the portal. Maybe he knew exactly the number back then, and that was his way of saying, we're going to put all of our walk-ons on scholarship, damn it. Stop me. Which, by the way, you'll be shocked to know what my feeling is on the walk-ons.
Yeah, I read your 10 thoughts. I was not shocked at those thoughts.
Well, I just look. I think the questions on every decision that Texas makes has to be, what helps us win the most games in 2026? Not is it right?
Right.
Not is anybody going to frown upon it? Not. Or does that mean it's a zero-sum game, or that there's not some negatives that comes with some of the decisions that have to be made? Nope.
In a way, Catch, you might be answering the question in a way for Sark. Forget everything else. But if he's right that it's going to be tough to build an older team, now he needs to try to figure out how to do that. I agree with you. But if it's true that he's got a younger team, younger guys benefiting from these practices around Arch and some that may end up just being right. That might just be it where you go, hey, that might be the reason to play above everything else.
You know what else could happen to this team, though? Trey Wisner could say, I'm sitting out the bowl.
Yep, that's true too.
Do you know what's left at running back at that point?
Yeah, I was going to say, if those two rooms, if that room and the wide receiver room, which we know what they've been this year at times, if they decide to sit, wow.
I mean, we did that a couple of years ago when Texas got real when Bijan and Roschon sat out the bowl game and Keelan Robinson started the bowl game.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're getting into a territory of what am I doing to Arch if I'm making him play against Michigan with Christian Clark and James Simon and Michael Terry as your 3 running backs? Because that's basically all they have left right now with CJ Baxter having already lost Jarrett Gibson to the portal
right
after his 4th game. So you start, and look, I don't know what Wisner's going to do. He might play and get 40 carries in this game. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but Trey Wisner, Anwar and I talked about this for like 10 minutes earlier today. Like, he's got an interesting decision because I don't know that there's anything that he could ever do that's really going to elevate his draft stock higher than it would be right now when he's got less mileage on his legs than maybe some other guys would. Like, I don't know. I don't know I don't know what's in Trey Wisner's head. My guess is he plays in this game, but I literally don't know who takes CJ Baxter's carries.
Right. Yeah. I mean, by looking at the stats, I think the answer is Arch Manning, which is scary. But the stats would tell you the answer to that is Arch Manning, but that can't be the answer in a bowl game.
I mean, are there any players in this game that if they were to sit out, they'll give? I think running back is the thinnest room. It feels like maybe everywhere else they could survive it. Like, you're not expecting Anthony Hill to play in this game.
Right.
If Muhammad and Jelani McDonald sat out because they were going to go pro.
What do you do with your O-line in this game?
Well, they're all going to play.
Okay.
But if for any reason DJ Campbell said, I'm shutting it down, then you got a real problem.
Right.
So it doesn't take much for a couple of flies to go into the ointment where it's like, Like, I don't know that if for any reason Trevor Goosby said, hey, Matt Miller just did a mock draft, had me top 15 in the draft, I'm going pro.
Yeah.
And that's what Cam Williams would have said a year ago. If Trevor Goosby thought that, and I still think Trevor Goosby comes back, but it's getting harder to not acknowledge that he could go pro if he wanted to. I think it's better for him to come back, but only because I think that guy's a future top 10 pick in the draft with another season. But I don't know that I could begrudge him if he starts hearing first round.
Yeah.
But if Trevor Goosby were to say, I'm out.
Yeah, that might change some.
They don't have a tackle. They literally don't. I mean, I guess at that point you're playing.
Right. Exactly. Nick.
It's less than an ideal situation at that point where you're probably saying that Jaden Chapman is your starting left tackle against Michigan.
Yeah, that could be right.
So it's a little nervous because you've agreed to play this game, and there are still some factors that haven't there's just some like card pieces that haven't revealed themselves yet that makes playing this game a little tricky. If for any reason the roster gets more depleted than and I don't know what it's going to look like. The other thing that we've seen the last couple of years with the portal, Chad, and then I'll pause and we can pay a bill and play some buy or sell. Texas has told the roster in each of the last 2 years, hey, we're in the playoffs, man. Like, don't rock the boat. And we know there have been some positions. Malik Murphy had to go into the portal because he was a quarterback, and it just is one of those things where there aren't enough available positions. We saw it. It didn't even work out for Malik Murphy. I don't even know where Malik Murphy is right now. Where's Malik Murphy playing?
I mean, he was at Duke, but I don't know where.
Oregon State.
Yeah, I don't know right now.
Where he is? Anyway.
I'll look him up real quick while you're talking.
Like CJ Baxter, I don't know if it gets any clearer than, well, I just finished finals. I can go home for the first time in a few years, spend the holidays with my family, and enjoy Christmas and think about the rest of my life and where I go from here. Or I can stick around here, not have a Christmas because I'm practicing that day, go to a bowl game that nobody wants to play in, and play for a coaching staff that I don't trust anymore and won't be my coaches next year. Like, it is, when you're playing in a playoff game, nobody wants to rock the boat. And nobody cares about the boat when it's a game that doesn't matter, as Notre Dame has told us with their decision yesterday. Sark is trying to act like this thing matters. I wonder, we still have to see from a number of his players, do they agree or do they not agree? It reminds me of when they hired Rodney Terry and all of the people who were like, I won't even look at Texas if Rodney Terry's not hired. And then he got hired and they left anyway. And it was like, oh.
Yeah, right. Oh, so, yeah. A little different. I see those 3 super chats. We will get to those as well. We got buy or sell coming up, as Ketch mentioned. Let's give Texas Card House some love, our main sponsor. We haven't shown this one in a while. All 6 locations are at the bottom. So if you are interested in checking out Texas Card House, we always talk about the Austin location. That's where we do the watch parties, 183 and Anderson Mill. But the other locations are there as well for you if you want to check it out. Make sure you mention Orange Bloods at check-in. 1 month of free club membership, 2 hours of free poker play, and they've got an online version too at hijackpoker.com. So if you want to throw it on any device, phone, laptop, whatever you got, and get to play in the online version, you can do that too. Shout out to Texas Card House for being a great sponsor of ours. Shout out to you guys for jumping in the specs chat. Let's grab this one from P. Miller, $5. OU, A&M, even Tech all made the playoffs, and we did not. How can Sark say this was a great season? He set a playoff standard and failed to meet it. Catch, that's what was going through my mind as you were talking about that. There's lots of reasons why he's not allowed to use that word. And it is nitpicking a word, but you always say it. You're right. Words matter. There are a lot of reasons why he can't say great. Here's one of them. And this is absolutely a part of why you can't say that word.
I mean, look, A&M had a pretty good season last year, but you can't call it great when Texas is in the playoffs and you're not.
Right. There are most Texas fans watching us right now. At the beginning of the year, they thought their team would be in the playoff, and they thought all 3 of those teams would be out. All of them. They thought OU would be maybe not as bad as last year, but not good. They did not think the Aggies were getting in the playoffs, and maybe a couple of them gave Tech some respect, but I don't know if any of them thought Tech was going to be the Big 12 champs and get a bye in the playoffs. I don't think that was on people's minds. So P. Miller, I totally understand that mindset. Jay, $5. I'm against any game other than the CFP. The team who plays December 31st won't look anything like the team first next year. All it does is risk people getting hurt.
I mean, there is that.
Yeah. I mean, it's that, and that's one reason, Jay, it's a great super chat. I've started to wonder too, Catch, about, are we to the point where these kind of bowls, Citrus Bowls and Gator Bowls and stuff like that, the one in Vegas that A&M played in last year, I think that's where A&M was, do they need to start incentivizing even more? Does it need to go beyond badass swag bags? Do we need to start talking about, hey, every member of the winning team gets this much cash and every member of the losing team gets this much cash? Like, is that where we need to head with these other bowl games if we're going to keep them?
Well, now you're talking about giving money to somebody other than the organizers of the bowl.
Right. That's
and
true.
Like, that is those. There's not enough money made in those games, at least that I'm aware of, that cut it into the margins significantly. You're talking about millions at that point, right? I mean,
yeah, you're right.
Just to even pay each guy $10,000 a year or $10,000 to win, that's a lot of money once you multiply it all out. And that's that doesn't do anything. If you were to say winner of this game gets $10,000.
Yeah. No, you're right.
It's not nothing, but like nobody is like, oh
yeah, you're right.
I'm in.
Right.
I'm in. Put me in the lazy boy right now. I'm not going anywhere. Why? Because the winning team, each team gets $10,000.
Yeah. And I remember I'm not saying that's for the fans. That's for the players.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Incentivize something where the players would have you remember the way the Pro Bowl used to be?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like, in order to do that, the amount of money would have to be significant enough. I don't think the bowl organizers are like wanting to pay that money out.
Yeah, no, I get you. Circling back real quick to the portal. Somebody asked us earlier, was the Baxter decision mutual? I would assume this is a big yes.
Yeah, yes. CJ Baxter averaged 3.6 yards per carry and finished the season with less than 200 yards rushing this season. He hasn't topped 27 yards in a game since week 2. Everybody needs a clean break and a fresh start. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if some tears were shed. But I think in the end, everybody knows this needed to happen.
Catch, I'll give you a gross stat. I heard you say his stats, and I went and looked at him again. Here's the one that jumped out to me to explain it to somebody. Arch Manning had 29 more carries. Like, let that soak in for a second. Arch Manning, over the course of the season, has had 29 more carries than CJ Baxter. That cannot be true, but it is. That cannot be true for your RB2. There's no way. You just can't do it that way. So I wish him nothing but the best. I'm interested to see where all that lands for CJ, but yeah, it cannot be at Texas. Jay, real quick, $2. Need a number 13 to number 25 NIT style tournament. Nope, Jay, that can't work in football.
You trying to make these dudes play 4 games that mean nothing?
No. Jay, expanding the system you got, that's a good discussion. I'm going to throw out a post on orangebloods.com this week. I'll argue for a 16. I'll even give you a 24 option. But no, you can't do that. You can't do a whole bunch of bowls that don't – you can't do bowls that don't matter and tell them it's a bracket of bowls that don't matter. No. Don't do that.
At that point, I'm letting you know right now, Trey Wisner is not playing.
I was going to say, lots of opt-outs. Mason Shipley might opt out at that point, and then just let y'all have what you're going to have. All right, we'll do some buying and selling after you hear from Specs. Shout out to Specs. They sponsor the chat each and every day.
In the wintry land of Specksville, neath the big Texas sky, spirits are lifted and glasses raised high. With whiskeys and wines and champagnes that pop, Specs is the place where the fun doesn't stop. From cocktails that sparkle to snacks that amaze, Specs brings the merry to all festive days. For thousands of ways to spread holiday cheer, come visit Specksville. The fun starts here.
And God love you, Jay. You just made me feel young and hip. Thank you so much. I'm the one that's always trying to expand playoffs and come up with these wacky ideas. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, sir. All right, Catch, you ready to buy or sell?
I am.
You want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
All righty.
Buy or sell number 1. CJ Baxter will be good somewhere else in 2026.
Yeah, you went lowercase g and didn't specify too much. I'm going to buy that. I'm thinking it's like maybe a mid to low level kind of P4 type of team. Maybe it's a discussion that sends him into like, does he want to go be RB1 for like a G6? But I'm going to say it's a buy somewhere. Yeah, he'll be classified as good, like 4.5 a carry or better, that kind of guy.
I'm asking you this next question because you're an Aggie.
Yes.
Because Aggies love walk-ons. They just do.
Well, come on now. There's history there. Yes.
There's a lot of history. So it's why I'm asking you specifically this question. Buy or sell number 2.
Yes.
Texas should dump all 18 returning walk-ons in the name of upgrading their roster in 2026.
Okay, let me just real quick clarification. Dump meaning a complete bye-bye, or dump meaning don't give them a scholarship?
Well, there's 100. Your roster can't go above 105.
Right. So it's got to be one or the other, right? You can't do 105 scholarships and the 18.
Correct.
Right? That's not allowed. It's got to be a buy.
And I haven't heard that they got grandfathered in.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. So it has to be a buy, Catch, because this is, You're the one that always talks about it's not show feelings, it's show business. I know some of those names. I know one of those names is Sarkeesian, and I know one of those names is Kieschnick and all that kind of stuff. Maybe like a small handful, but it can't be 18. It can't be 18. So if you're asking me if it's one, it got to be one or the other, this has to be a bye. 2026 needs to feel like a complete, focused reloading of everything. You can't have Arch Manning get done with his time at Texas and have it be about bowl games where they throw Cheez-Its at people. Period. It needs to start immediately. And if those guys have to take a bye-bye, those guys have to take a bye-bye.
You think Sark will allow them? Remember when the guy touched his boob in the bowl game?
Yep.
I think I'd rather have someone touch my boob than have Cheez-Its fall all on me.
The question becomes, Catch, if they win this game, at the moment the Cheez-Its start to be poured on him, what goes through Sark's mind? Like, really? Is this really like, it's not the mayonnaise. The mayonnaise is pathetic. I still don't know why they allow that. I would hate to see my coach getting mayonnaise dumped on him. But the Cheez-It thing, I've seen this thing. It just feels weird when you see it. The Citrus Bowl, Catch, has some clout. The Citrus Bowl is a real bowl to all of us that are of a certain age, and it feels like, okay, Citrus Bowl. I've seen Citrus Bowls that matter. I know what a Citrus Bowl is, right? That's a Big Ten team and an SEC team that are good, but they're not really good or great. I know exactly what I'm going to watch. It's like, yeah, and if they win, we're going to dump Cheez-Its on the coach. Like, what? What are you talking about? That connection makes this game a little weirder to me. And I don't envy Sark on that. He's a good-looking dude. He's always stylish. They may dump Cheez-Its on him, and I don't know what he'll think at that point.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think he'll like it. But
I don't either.
Buy or sell number 3. You think Texas Tech can get to the national championship game?
I'm going to buy because you put the word can in there. You didn't go with a will. I'm not sure if they quite go that far, but what impresses me about Tech is that defense thinks the ball is theirs. And sometimes it just happens that way. They kind of remind me of that Saints team that won the Super Bowl where it was just like, how many turnovers did they have this week? Oh, yeah, it was 3 more. Oh, it was 2 more, and there was a pick 6 and all that. So can they? Absolutely. If they can get teams into that style game over and over again, they feel comfortable in close games. They'll stretch you out in the second half. If you're not, tied together, I absolutely think they can. Yeah, bye.
You know who they were what I kind of think about them? Is there a better version of Oklahoma? I don't think they're incompetent on offense.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, take the Oklahoma offense, dial it up a little bit, and both of their defenses feel ravenous. Yeah, that's not bad. I know one thing for sure, Catch. They are better than BYU. I know that for certain in 2020.
I cannot believe BYU is still ranked ahead of Texas, but that's for another show.
Oh my God, that one too? Like, come on, committee. Cut Sark a break. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. That's terrible.
But I think they did that because the further you remove Texas from the equation, the less you have to talk about them. And
pitiful.
Woo! You were right. The word can was a really important word in that buy or sell question because in buy or sell number 4, I am using the word will.
There you go.
Buy or sell number 4. Georgia will win the national title over Indiana.
I will take that specificity and just say sell because then I'll get every other combination. Yeah, I'll go ahead and sell that because then it could be those two teams, but Indiana wins. There's a lot of combinations I get. I'll play the math and say sell. I'd love to see that game. It's weird now because Georgia, Ohio State would be a semi now. Is that right? That was the one I thought maybe we're working towards that final. If we get to see Georgia play that Ohio State team, and then they have to go play that Indiana team to win it all, good Lord, sign me up for both games because those will be some head crackers. In the end, I think it would be. I'd lean Georgia there, but, man, I've thought it all season long. Indiana's real as hell, and they're going to make you beat them, and I can't wait to see if anybody can figure out. Like those 3, really, the 2 Big Tens and Georgia, That's the measuring stick to me in this bracket.
And finally, buy or sell number 5. You want Baker Mayfield to quarterback Tampa Bay in 2026. Not he will, not that there's even a question about it. I just want to know, like, you're down with Baker Mayfield enough that, like, you're comfortable with him being the starter next year.
Oh, yeah, buy. Baker, the touchdown maker, the comeback maker. Yes, I'll take him. I'm not going to say I've fallen in love, but
oh my God,
I have fallen into understanding when it comes to Baker Mayfield. It's been kind of fun to root for him. It's like getting to root for the outlaw in the Western I never knew I got to root for. So yeah, I'll take a little more Baker in 2026. Absolutely. Because I think
there's no greater evidence than what confirmation bias does to the human brain and psyche and soul.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's what I think Mike Evans would tell us. I think Mike Evans would tell us that he wants Baker Mayfield to throw him footballs in 2026. So yes, whatever part of my football soul has had to be sold, I have sold it. Because
what about your wife and the Aaron Rod? Where are we at with A-Rod? Because I watched that game thinking about her and Jason Sukumel at the same time yesterday.
Yeah, she is still she's still very consistent in her not actively rooting for Aaron Rodgers. She roots for like the play and not really Aaron Rodgers. She still doesn't like the man. She is in the Fire Tomlin committee. She wants that to happen. So it's just been, and then the other thing she does catch is she's in this pick'em contest every week and she plays fantasy. So there are times where the Steelers' success is actually bad for her and you can see that on her face. So that tortures her at the same time. So she's just in this tornado of weirdness. But I think she was able to appreciate a win over the damn Ravens yesterday. Yeah, it's weird. I'm kind of rooting for the Steelers even more than she is right now. But she's getting through it. She's powering her way through it.
This is where I felt when Greg Hardy was on the Cowboys.
Oh, God, Greg Hardy.
You know, it's like, I want them to win, I think. But,
that
like,
yeah,
if that guy blows his knee out, like, would be terrible either.
Big difference, of course. They did not snap the ball to Greg Hardy every play.
True.
They did not. They decided not to do that. All right, that was 5, wasn't it?
That was 5. I'm done.
All right, here we go, Catch. Let's get right back to the beginning of the discussion. Buy or sell number 1. Texas should have turned down the smaller bowl like Notre Dame did. Buy or sell?
Buy. Yeah, I'm going to be consistent. I can't say cancel the Ohio State game because it's in the best interest of 2026 and then not be consistent with, well, the most important thing that should exist in everybody's brain is 2026 and then say the bowl game should be played. I understand it. I'm not standing on the table and like, you know, I'm not going to go make a big stink on Orange Bloods and be like, this game should not. I'm not going to do that. But if you're asking me, I think I would have canceled and let Sarkeesian focus on 2026.
There you go. All right, Cats, let's go to the big question everybody's trying to figure out. Buy or sell number 2. The committee got the Bama, Notre Dame, Miami thing right. Buy or sell?
Look, if words matter, then I'm going to look at that question as a 3-team ensemble. I don't think any of those 3 teams warrant being ranked ahead of Texas based on resume. But those are the 3 teams that the committee bunched together. Mm-hmm. And in bunching those teams together, they did select the right 2 teams.
Gotcha. All right. Fair enough.
But my top 10 rankings, like if I have a list of top 10 rankings, I have Texas ranked ahead of all 3 of those 2 teams, ahead of all 3 of those teams.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Catch, it's been my goal for a long time. Can we get there? Buy or sell number 3. The CFP needs to go to 16. Buy or sell?
I'm going to go buy.
Okay.
Because you're really not at 12. You're at 10. And the games with the 11 and 12 seeds right now are farces. Yeah. I mean, you're almost talking. They just are.
And this year's version has 2 G5 because they didn't get Catch. How could they not get specific with that rule? They're not going to get specific until next year where they go, oh no, next year the ACC champ gets in. And Manny Diaz is like, what do you mean next year? What the hell is that? The fact that they didn't get specific is a riot at this point.
It's bananas. It feels like you can. I think in every year there will be some times where 16 feels like 2 teams too many. But it actually feels like this year you could have justified having 16 in.
Yeah.
There would still be an argument about who gets in and who doesn't. But a little bit like the NCAA basketball tournament, you can eventually get to a point where, like, who cares? Like, I just don't have it in me to care about who the 10 seeds were, unless your team gets left out or in, right? The only people that matter. But I think Texas learned a really hard lesson this weekend. If you're not going to be in it, no one cares about you. And Steve Sarkeesian, there's part of me that thinks they should have done more this weekend. It felt like Texas gave up.
Yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting argument. I think you're right. We heard less and less from Sark as we got closer to those announcements.
Why wasn't Sark on game day? Well, maybe he wasn't invited.
Yeah,
maybe
that might be true too.
Maybe somebody got a hold of him and said, Sark, look, we talked to somebody on the committee. We're not getting it.
And by the way, as a third-party observer, if y'all don't like the idea of number 14 Texas at number or 13 Texas at number 4 Texas Tech, I can't help you. I really can't help you because that catch would be a playoff environment like nobody has ever.
I mean, I think we've only seen this happen now twice, the 12 teams. Oh, yeah. I'm actually a lot more in favor of 16 teams, let a couple of the little puppies in. I'm okay with giving 1 and 2 seeds a little bit of a lighter first round matchup. A losable game if they're not careful. But,
they need to give – I mean, I think that's a great point. It's kind of my theme of the week, which is it's the second year ever of this. We got to calm down and let them fix it. They'll fix it. They've already tweaked it. First year to second year got a tweak. We got to give them time. This stupid sport.
Think about had they not tweaked after last year, what we would be looking at right now.
Oh, exactly. Right. With JMU and Tulane. Tulane would have a bye, right?
Tulane would have a bye as the 4 seed.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're going to tweak it. It feels a little better. This stupid sport went over 100 years without figuring out a real champion. Like we got to give them a little bit of a break because they're just getting to it in 2024. Oh, we mean we could have a bracket with the right number of spots? Yeah, you can. Way to go, D1 football.
It really is like it is, I think, tough for a lot of fans. The whole romanticized idea of these games matter, and they don't. They just don't. Like not the non-playoff games.
Exactly. But that's another reason. It's another reason to expand. Why did the NFL add 2 teams to the playoffs? Right?
And we've never reached a point on Wild Card Weekend where we've said, you know what? F this. One less. I could just do with one less wild card game.
They're always fun. And the NFL puts 44% of their teams in the playoffs. If college football were to match that for the 68 Power 4 teams in Notre Dame, they'd put 30 teams in. And we know they're not doing that. It's not going to go that crazy. I think 16 is probably the next thing that they'll seriously look at. All right, Catch, I hate to do it because it's you and it's me and we know who we love in the NFL, but damn it, here we go. Buy or sell number 4. The Texans are going to win the AFC South. They're one game back.
What are the standings in the South right now?
They're one game back at Jacksonville after yesterday.
Sell. I'll go with Jacksonville. I am watching the red zone. I caught a little bit of the Jaguars.
They're good.
They've got they're ahead. So I'll take the team with 4 games to go to that has the head start.
But I will say, man, older I get, more I hate injuries. God, that Daniel Jones injury sucks. Like that is just not, it ain't never been fair. It's never been fair. And I hate that they're going, I don't even like the Colts, but I just hate that they're going through that. That sucks. Finally, Catch. Let's go to this one. Buy or sell number 5. Today, your gut says OU gets Bama again.
Sell.
Okay.
I think Alabama will be bitter about 2 years last year, bitter about this year, and bitter about getting their ass kicked by, to me, They have the most Ohio State vibe from a year ago of any team in this tournament. They got one of the 4 most talented rosters in the tournament, maybe the number 3. It probably them, Ohio State, and Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just got embarrassed.
Yeah.
They just got punked. They got punked pretty bad.
-3 yards rushing.
They're going to have to hear about that.
Yeah.
And now they got to hear about Oklahoma. And they know how costly that game was. So
who's your best running back in that game? If Jam Miller plays, it's him, right?
Has to be. Oh, yeah.
Well, if the first team to 58 yards rushing wins, 60?
I would just remember watching that game thinking that Alabama was multiple scores better than Oklahoma, but the Oklahoma defense was just so good. Not good in the sense that they should have kept Alabama out of the end zone as much as they did. Good, and they just make plays. They make big plays that separate really good from great defenses. They'll need to make great plays, I think, in order for them to win that game.
Yeah, that's going to be a wild one.
Because Oklahoma at home hasn't been flawless. I mean, it's not like I think that nobody can go into that stadium.
Right. Oh God, that LSU game was close. The Missouri, I mean, they'll play close.
I still think Auburn got screwed. Like
Yeah. By the way, speaking of home games, interesting note: Miami's going to be the first ranked team the Aggies have played at Kyle Field this year. First one. Just a stat, just a fact.
Hey, sometimes it goes that way.
Sometimes it does. You can only play who they put on your schedule, Catch. So far, there ain't been a number by any of those teams' names when it comes to the Aggies. All right, before we get out of here, let me thank a couple of our sponsors that we do appreciate. One of them is AV Consultations. Y'all hear me talk about them all the time. Your setup, maybe it could be a little bit better this holiday season. You might find that out. Might find out that Uncle Joe, because Uncle Joe's birthday is in September, and you know what he did? He got an 80-inch TV. And you're going to go to Uncle Joe's house and realize, oh, damn, Uncle Joe went to 80. Honey, we're going 85. Do they make a 90? Do they make a 110? Find out all that with AV Consultations. 255-8678. Let them buy the TV for you and then set up every detail. Make it the holiday gift to you. Maybe it's the man cave you've always wanted. Maybe it's the family movie room that you guys have always talked about. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Tell them you heard about it here on OB Live. We would appreciate it. All right, Catch. Is there anything else, any other business we need to attend to today? CJ Baxter reportedly headed to the portal. Trey Owens reportedly headed to the portal. Do we have any other names on the list as of this moment?
No.
Not hearing anything else. Okay.
No.
All right. Just about ready to close up then. Before we close up, I will also remind you that the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room is open and ready to roll. Well, no, it's not open right now because we're talking to you on a Monday. If you're listening to us, though, Wednesdays through Sundays, they are open and ready to go. All the great cocktails. Remember to bring back your mason jars or your martini glasses or both for that discounted refill if you like. And ask and see if maybe they still have some of that great Deep Eddy espresso left for some cocktails. Tell them you want it to be the 10th flavor. I think that'd be pretty damn cool. Thanks to them for their great partnership. We've been out to the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room a couple times. Also, be sure to get that barbecue while you're out there at the Crimson Creek Smokehouse. Food truck is there. They do some great stuff. The sides are awesome. Those baked beans are great. Go have it. Great. Brisket's awesome. Good stuff. The little burnt ends, the little pork belly stuff they brought. Oh, so good. So good. All right. I don't see any super chats. Thank you all for jumping in there. Wait a minute. Did we get that one? We did not get, hang on. Sorry, real quick Catch. G5 team equals exhibition / warm-up games. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I guess they're talking about the playoff stuff there. And then, is Texas cooked after this season? Huh?
No,
I don't know what that means. Not sure what that means. All right. Maybe a 12-team playoff is okay, no.
2025 team is cooked.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Will Texas pay Simmons whatever number he asks for? I think
they've got Simmons good to go.
Yeah.
I had heard back during the summer that there were a couple players on the roster that they signed up for multiple years. And including one that I believe is a pretty prominent player on the team. I think it's Simmons, but I don't know that for sure. But yeah, they're not letting Colin Simmons go anywhere.
Yeah, I think that would be logical. One last one here from TN Longhorn. We're assuming that's Tennessee. Would the Arch era at Texas be considered a failure by fans if we miss the CFP next year? And would that change perception of the program moving forward?
Yep, it would.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. All right, thank you guys for liking, subscribing, getting your notifications. Up over 194,000 subscribers now, and we do appreciate you for that. It is Modcast Tuesday tomorrow. We'll get the Modcasters together and figure all that out. Catch will be back on Wednesday. Thank you for checking out the channel. Check out the video section, the shorts, the live section. If you're not finding what you're looking for, remember to get notifications, and then you'll know when everything is popping up. Thank you guys for supporting us. This is Orange Bloods Live.